What's up, everybody? This is Raf204 with.
They
All right. We're back. We're back with another video. Uh, Sorry we took so long. I come up with these topics that I want I want V and I to uh have very interesting topics to talk about, not just what's going on in the gaming industry right now and all that. So today's topic, right, V?
excuse me. Yeah, sure.
uh, Today's topic is one that V and I have been discussing for a really long time, and I think I always win that battle, which is first person versus third person, and the view and who and what's better, and also the evolution of first person and third person and what's going on in the future of that. So yeah, what do you think, V?
Yeah, I think yeah. There's a console view and there's a PC view. That's that's how they differ. And the console view is the third person view, and the first person view is the PC view.
All
And
right.
and if you know, you know, and if you don't, well, too bad, I guess. But yes, I think that the major differences between those views are really our cinematic part. Really, I believe that the third person view is a view that you know develops a more cinematic experience in the game rather than more personal and immersive that first person view tries to achieve and I guess replicate. In that sense, if the game is prioritizing third person view, I believe that game is really try to show more than it provides.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah. Try to put some music on.
A-
Go ahead.
And yeah, in that sense, third person games are more of a movie type games, more of a laid back experiences rather than real games that you are supposed to get immersed in and be a part of the world really. I think in that sense, third person games are more of a shallow games, and we can very much see that in all throughout the gaming I guess history, and especially in these days where the ironically I love you can very much define quality of a game just by the view that it's just, that it uses, and most of the time 99% of the time actually when the game is prioritizing third person view instead of a first person view, that game is shit. And we just can say it plainly like that without pretending that it's anything but that.
I I
And
I
that's my
very
take.
disagree with you about it being shit. It just depending on the game that you're talking about. But for me, as a person that loves, I like third person. I mean, I like first person view as well. It's not that I don't like it. I just prefer third person view. I just really like to see my character. I like the cover based system. I like the shooting mechanics. There are games that took it to the next level, like Uncharted, Ghost Recon, the Division. There's a lot of games, man. A lot of games that take it to the next level. Even Resident Evil with a third person, first person view that they've been taking on. But um, so speaking about third person view, this game right here is called Winback. It came out in around let me see what day it came. Oh yeah, 1999. So they basically came up with the idea of cover based system on in a third person game, and then everything took off from there on. I think 007 was one of the first. 007 for N64, I think, was one of the first to do a third person shooting or something like that, right? Or like it was one of the first, because I know that.
First, it
Huh?
was a first person story driven type
Yeah,
situation.
I think people were playing a lot with the gun. This is way before your time, V. With the gun pointing at the screen, like Dreamcast and all those games, arcades. When you go to arcades and you shoot, I guess that was, what do you call that? First person, third person, first person going into first person because you're the one holding the
Right.
gun.
Yes,
Like House of
because
the
it's a
Dead.
more of a more of in a realm of VR and Connect type accessory situation.
Yeah. So then, and then I guess like Call of Duty, Medal of Honor came out with more like those type of games back then, and then that's how they like kind of implemented first person view and all of that. But I think the pioneer, like the multiplayer first person, like that pioneered multiplayer and all of that was GoldenEye for the N64. I just really think they did their thing with that, and then from there on, this is before the internet. This is when people had to, connect four controllers to a console and play multiplayer with four split screens. Um, 'Cause those were back in the days, man. Those are good times. It's way before your time, V. Way before. When did you experience your first person view?
Yes, well, my first person game, I guess. My, I got lucky, I suppose. Was the first and the last first person game that I ever really needed in my life, and it was a CS 1.6. So it
Yeah.
was quite an old game. Also,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay. So
and
that's the old the very
yeah,
first one.
yeah, the very was in 1998, I think it was
Hmm.
released at. And yeah, it was speaking of multiplayer, that was one of the first very massive multiplayer games that became that now a staple of esports. And yeah,
Okay.
but I think yes, one of the first multiplayer games were Doom or Wolfenstein games
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
are
yeah.
retro.
That's when the gun was like in the center of the screen, right?
Yeah,
It was like
it wasn't even a 3D game technically. It was a 2D game that was meant to look like a 3D and in the first person too.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
remember those. Those like I played Duke Nukem actually was one of my after Golden. I was like in the same year. Duke Nukem for the N64 was one of my first like first person shooters as well, which I really freaking loved. Duke Nukem is an awesome game if you guys haven't played that one before. But yeah, the gun was like well in Doom and everything, or the gun was like in the center before they started putting it more towards the side. Um, where when it came to like Doom and Quake, right?
yes, and
And Wolfenstein.
ironically, this style of gun placement is actually very much preferred in it's one of the not the popular ways, but one of the preferred ways that people actually professionally play, especially Quake was being again another one of the big esports games where the placement of the gun was very much in the center, which allows you to for I suppose better vision and better competitive advantage in that sense. But yeah, but most of the games, yes. I suppose if I go back to talking about first person and third person games, the gunplay and how the placement of the gun and how gun feels, I suppose that's the main differentiation of the at least in a first person game type of view. I suppose that's the only way how you can make a unique type of gameplay that is engaging, I suppose.
Yeah. And then you got the gunplay and all of that, and then the customization, the outfits. I always tell you that the reason I like first third person view as well is because the customization. Look at this right here, like all the shit that you put on your character and everything you can't see because you're in first person, but when you're in third person you get to see all the shit, all the stuff. And it's some, I get it, some microtransaction you have to pay for, but this game and this is Ghost Recon Breakpoint, um, all of that is free. You can get all of that in the game just by playing it, and you just buy them and put them on your character, and you just do challenges, and you can unlock more stuff. So
Yeah,
to me, this is the reason, one of the main reasons why I really love third person.
yeah. Well, and by you enjoying this part of a game, I suppose you indirectly contributing to a very big problem that is microtransactions, and that allegedly people say that one of the reasons why especially multiplayer titles go third person is to to appeal to the people, to
Fortnite,
their appeal to their wallets,
yeah,
if anything else. And if you have a game that is designed with the intention of monetization rather than anything else, then well, then I believe that's a kind of a problem, and that's what I believe. In a sense, third person is very much a contributing factor too, and why it shouldn't be respected.
Okay, there are games coming out now, that are actually implementing both first and third. What do you think about that? What do you think about the like this game right here, Turok? Originally a first-person game. This is way back in the day, also Nintendo 64. I played the first one, and this is the new one that's coming out, Turok Origins. I'll put the description down below so all you guys can see this trailer and everything. But yeah, this is one. You see how it switches to third and first. What do you think about that? The evolution of it being actually integrated into a game, both first and third. I think the technology is getting better and better every year.
Yeah, I think technology was always there, but what they're doing here, I think it's a big waste of time, really. And I think if they should, want to do, I think the better way to do it is to pick one and focus on that rather than splitting your resources, time, and effort into multiple ways of playing. While again, I believe that you cannot design a game with the both first person and third person views in mind. When you design a game as a developer, I suppose, or as a designer, you have to account. One of the things you have to account is the view of the game and how player will be perceiving the world, and in that sense you can then build the games around that view. For
Mm.
example, if you take this game or any really third person games, you can notice that a lot of the game worlds that they build in those games are very much massive. The rooms are bigger, the even the ideas of the games themselves are more massive. Not many of the third person games are designed, their story is designed in a confined spaces like houses or mansions, whatever. One of the exceptions to that rule, I suppose, will be games like Resident Evil
Right.
or Silent Hills, I suppose. But that's an exception rather than a rule. Most of the third-person games are take Monster Hunter, GTA, Ghost
Yeah.
Recon. All of
Yeah.
those games are basically open, massive world type games where it'd be very much a benefit to have a third person view that it gives you a broader perspective, and it doesn't confine you into a small space, which is quite another fact, another point that if you're making a game in a confined space as a third person style game, it's very much you have that much more space that is used there. So you cannot design a very true experience of a confined space with third person games.
Okay.
Well, with the if you design a game with the first person game, first person view in mind in a confined space, or one of the main design design facts of a confined space, it's a little claustrophobic, I suppose, and the better developers can deliver that feeling, that the better game will feel and be better in terms of immersion, and no better way to do that than first person in that sense. And for example, if you decide to make a third person game in that sense, it would very much counter, well, not counterintuitive, but it wouldn't be as efficient
Right.
of a design choice in that
Okay.
sense.
I just think for me, the like I said, technology is increasing and going moving faster and faster, and they're kind of figuring it out. Like this game right here, um, figuring out how to implement both, and I'm excited about that because it also reaches more audience, people that like me. Like I tend to like when I'm about to buy a game, I'm already looking at first person, third person, and seeing what kind of type of game it is, and I will always lean to third person first, and then it actually make or break. It might make or break my purchase for the game. That's just me.
Same here.
Yeah, that's just exactly same as you. That's just you. But there are some games that will capture me and they'll be like, you know what, like Doom. I mean, I'm playing it on Game Pass, but I would like, now that I know about the game, how I'm playing and all of that, I probably would have bought that game, because I really like the gunplay and all of that. But I'm still always lean towards third person. I just think that the evolution is changing compared to like back in the days where you have to pick. Like there was this game right here. You know about this game, right? Deus. How do you say it? Deus
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. This is that one. This is one of the first games that actually did that, where it implemented first and third, and it did a hell of a job doing it. And I think a lot of games should, not, and I'm seeing how the future is being held with all these games that are implementing both first and third to give people options, so more people can play and be more interested into the game. Because as soon as you tell me, hey, we're gonna do we're gonna do a first third person view as well, I'm already my eyes already open. So vice versa for you, but I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't even pick up the game because it's going into third person, right?
Well, it is not necessarily true. It's just, as I said, 99% of it of a times third person games are bad. But contrary to that, my one of my favorite franchises of all time is Dark Souls, which is a natively a third person game. So in that sense, and I love my GTA as many do, and that's a third person game. And but that's the thing. I again there's a rules and there's a exceptions, and in this case, it's very much an exception.
Yeah,
Most of the time, third person games are really a red flag
right.
in a game.
And
And
what?
as I said, it's the third person concept itself is very much a cinematic concept, especially again with the taking a cover behind the back. It almost if you were really like films, and one of the examples of that will be a Matrix. I just recently saw a couple of clips of that, and in the Matrix you can see exactly the same shots of like a person being behind a pillar, almost exactly the same position of a camera, as in exactly as in a film. And that's the my view and my whole point about the third person, that it's really all for cinematic value. It's for a game to be as
Yeah, yeah. For view, yeah, 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 you got me on that one. I like what I like what I'm seeing. I like looking at it. It entertains me like crazy. Um, but
uh
I also get entertained with this. You see how I get entertained with this too. This is cinematic as well. As you can see, they just went into a cutscene.
well
I get into this thing too right here, and it
yeah,
is also cinema. So
yeah,
even
well
if
that
it is in person third, Call of Duty does it very well with the third person and the cinematics and all of that when it comes to their campaign. I just a couple last year, yeah, I played Black Ops 6, and I finished that, and the controls are freaking amazing. Like the best I've ever played on in a third person game. I mean first person game. And they also, one of the people that never had a third person view just started making a third person view. All of a sudden, they have the multiplayer third person view. And there's a lot of parts that you can actually switch to third person. I know it's a first person game, but it gives me like, you know jitters, and I'm glad that they're actually acknowledging third person, even though they're not a third person. You can actually see that it's like you're playing first person, but you're looking at yourself in a
right.
third person, or something like that.
Ironically, it did remind me of again my favorite example of Fallout games, where third person was deemed as a vanity mode, notoriously for literally nothing but to look at your character and your I suppose outfits.
Yeah,
If you want to play a dress up, and especially in the case of Call of Duty games where there's a lot of skins and funny operators. We all love our Nicki Minaj. With the AK-47s. We're big fans of that, and and that's why people like people companies like Call of Duty, monetize on that because that's what I believe that move really is. Nothing but a cheap advertisement ploy. And in that sense, also, I suppose, right, in games, cinematic view, I suppose, it's nothing, it's not a bad thing, and many people would argue it's a good thing, for a game would be cinematic. But as far as I remember, that's not really what game's about. If you want to watch a movie, if you want to watch a cinema, you watch a movie, and if you want to
But
enjoy in the game and be immersed in the game, you play a game and
but I would
you
say that you like another view better than first person, correct? The what's the other one? The over the head. The
isometric.
yeah, I call that
Ah,
the helicopter view, like
yes,
like this game of yours right here.
yes, Path of X.
Yeah, like you so you prefer, like, if you had to choose between this right here or first person, what would you pick?
Well, that's another thing, views like that they very much define a genre of certain games. There is no if the game possess view like isometric games, it's a completely different. There's a specific types of genres of games, and obviously there's shooters of in the views like that, and and all of racing games with the views like that. But most of the this view is defined by games like this one, or games like city building, colony simulators, management type of simulator games. There ain't no how do I put it, no crossover, of genres. For example, first person games are mostly defined by shooters. uh,
Yeah.
First
Okay.
person shooters, right? Yeah, the
Well,
best
yeah.
way
Well,
to build
there
a game
is
in that sense would
yeah.
be a first person view if you want to build a shooter. And if you want to build a game like this, well, the best way to do it, I suppose, would be this.
Well, I can counter that right now by saying there is a game that's in first person view. Well, there's a lot of games that's in first person view. One of them is not. It's not a shooter. It's Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is a game that I would have loved to play. This is one of the games that I told you that make or break from my purchase, and I hear it's freaking amazing. Middle, uh, Earth, all this stuff that they have going on, swords, shields, everything. I love all that shit, and I just can't see myself buying it because it's in first person. It's not my cup of tea. Like, I want to swing my sword. I want to see my character. I want to, like, but no, it has to be first person. And then that made me not want to buy the game. And now they're on part two, and I heard it's amazing as well. And I saw it, and I saw all the reviews, and I saw everything. I wanted to play that game, and I couldn't force myself to play it because it's in first person. So that's one of the main reasons why I don't even like I can't see, but I hear it's good. But I hear it's very, very good. And maybe one day on a sale I'll buy it. Maybe one day. What do you think about that game, Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Well, I think it's quite ironic that think that the first person view is the problem here, and not the game itself. That is very much quite complicated game. Honestly, I don't think you would really enjoy it anyways,
Mm,
because it's a very technical in a sense, and requires a lot of patience and attention, which kind of goes back to my point of with the third person games, that a lot of people who enjoy those games don't have that patience, don't have that
yeah,
attention, and all they want to do is really watch a movie and not play a game.
yeah. I mean, I want to play that game. I do. Trust me, I do, because I like all that back in the days. Medieval. I love medieval shows. I love all that, bro. I like, and I would have loved to play this game, but it's just like, I want to live in this world, bro. I want to live here. I want to do all the shit that they do in this game. I like it a lot, and just because it's in first person, I can't see myself buying it, bro. I just can't. It looks so good though, man. I mean, I'll probably give it a try. Like, oh, Indiana Jones, same thing, man. I would have I would have preferred Indiana Jones to be first person. I mean, third person, and then went into first person.
You
I
know,
don't know.
I'd imagine Indiana Jones actually to be a better fit for a third person game also, but you know,
Yeah, see,
honestly, but I well,
those are
considering
those.
the people that made it, I believe there's not too many problems there. You know, people who did that game do know what they're doing with the first person view and
Yeah,
did
this
a
game
decent job
and
with
this
that.
game is great. Look, I mean, it looks amazing,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it definitely looks like one of those third person games, very much shiny and bright and catches your eye,
But it's in
but
third.
definitely
I
ain't
mean, but
shallow
it's in
inside.
first. But it's in first person. Your
Yeah.
your um but yeah, so that was our little topic, our little top first person versus third person. Let us know what you guys think. Look, even the horse, man. Look, you just see the horse's head and stuff. Like, I don't like that, man. I want to see my
Guess what?
character.
Guess what? That's called immersion. Not that you know anything about it, but that's what it is.
I want to. Anyways, yeah, whatever. You see what you see when you put like this gameplay right here. This like, come on, man. I want to see myself swinging the sword instead of holding it up. You can't even see your sword, man. This is pretty cool. I like that. I like that.
The cutscenes where you have nothing to do and a game plays for you. Of course you do, because you love third
No,
person.
that's not cutscene. That's fighting. He was fighting there.
Yeah,
But
QT, you know.
yes, let us know what you guys think. Yeah, man, win back, man. First time cover base. We got Joe Rocks changing the game up with first and third. Um,
Wasting their time.
I don't think they're. I think they're gonna be good. And you got games like this. They've been doing it for a while, and they succeeded, man. And they succeeded. So let us know what you think down below. Leave us your comments, likes, share this video, and V and I will catch you on the next one.
Yes.
Peace.
Someday.